Hi everyone, my name is Nicole Miyuki and this is Let's Make Art, and we are doing Let's Make Art Matter. And I have Sarah with us to tell us a little bit more about what it is.
Hi guys, so Let's Make Art Matter. If you're familiar with our watercolor subscription box, it's honestly the best part, and I really feel like the most important part of our company, where we take a little moment and give something back to our community. So included in your box we have postcards, and we all gather together as this community and we create these postcards to send to an individual or family or just somebody to give them a little bit of extra love. It started because I had a really close family friend of mine who just had really hard thing hit them after hard thing, like just over and over. And when people are going through hard times that you love, and maybe that you don't even know, you want to be able to connect with them to show that you care, but we're scared to. We're scared we're going to say the wrong thing. We're scared that, we're going to offend them. We're scared that we're not going to be able to comfort them like we want to comfort them. But really, all they want is just like knowing that you care, and and that's all we have to do. And so if we can just like take a moment and just reach out to them, let's do that. And it will just make the world kinder, and it's so much better than not doing anything at all. So I just like to take a moment every single month where for our watercolors, we paint postcards together, and now for lettering, we're gonna letter postcards for people who just need a little bit of extra love. That's all it is.
And so this month for April, I was going through the submissions and I found one that really spoke to me. And it was a father, his name's Bryce, and he has 4 kids. They're 2, 4, 6, and 8, which is really cool, all the ages. And he was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer. And so what's really cool is that his family motto to keep going is this train of miracles isn't stopping. And so I thought this was a perfect one to start with for lettering. So this is who we're going to give some love, like you were saying, to give some support. Their family will see it. I think it will mean a lot, and it'll be that little touch, like Sarah said, that will just bring them some joy through this hard time. Because like she said, there's so many people who are going through hard times, and just something little like this, it can be simple. I don't want you to focus on everything being perfect, because the whole joy of art in general is that you're spreading love and you're telling somebody, I took the time to think of you, and I want you to know that that's what matters in this world. So for this one, what we're gonna be doing is actually I wanna mention if you have the spring lettering subscription box, in that you might have gotten paper that was a little bit flimsy, and I just want to note to you that that was just a miscommunication. We're going to mail you off some new ones, and it will be stamped. It won't have an address. If you're familiar with the watercolor box, that will be addressed. We wanted to leave it blank, so it's another time for you to practice your lettering. Okay, so like I said, this family's motto is this train of miracles isn't stopping. So what I want to do is I created a layout that's something that you can do pretty quickly. So what you'll notice is that I chose to do miracles a lot bigger because that's where the emphasis is on. And so to create some variance, what you can do is, if you have a ruler, if you don't have a ruler, you can use a side of a piece of paper, or you can use it after me.
Yeah.
If you don't have a ruler, you can just use a side of a piece of paper. But what I'm going to do is, it doesn't need to be perfect. If you want to do it straight, you can, but I'm just going to angle it a little slightly. And so I'm going to draw myself a line. So what I'm doing is I'm drawing my guidelines. So draw them light. These are my guidelines for the word miracles. So just draw yourself some light guidelines. Yeah. Anywhere is good. Because you can choose, do you want miracles to be a lot bigger? Do you want it to be more up top? So you can dictate your layout. Okay. Can they see that, Keenan? Or do we need to draw it darker?
They can see that.
Okay, cool. So then what we're going to do is you're going to draw miracles. So you can choose, do you want to draw it more angled? I'm going to draw it straight up and down, even though I'm drawing at an angle. So you're just going to draw them out. If you want to do it in a block font, you can do that, or you can do it in your script. You can have it sit exactly on your line, or you can just fit your letters inside of there. Oh, nice. Okay, so you have the word miracles. Then what you're going to do is we're going to take this area and write this train of. So you can decide, do you want to make it all on one line? I decided to break it up. And then I also decided just to mix it up, as I did this in a block font rather than a script. So you can dictate how you want yours to look like as well. If you want also, you can give yourself some guidelines if that helps you. You don't have to go all the way to the edge. You can give your letters some breathing room. So this train, and what I did was because of was such a small word, I just drew myself, I figured it'd be cool if you fill the space if you'd like. You can draw lines, maybe you draw squiggly lines, you can draw dots. You can draw this a little bit bigger if you want to fill the space. So this is just your template that you're doing. And remember to draw a little bit light because you're going to erase it at the end. This train of, and then on this space, you're going to draw isn't stopping. So it actually works out perfectly because isn't is shorter. And I usually, whenever I do a block font, I tend to draw it in all caps. You don't have to. Stopping has 2 P's, right?
Yes.
I'm glad you asked. I've been wondering that question for years.
I really hope it does.
I will look it up right now.
Thank you.
I think it does.
This is what happens when you do lettering so much is it's funny, words start to look
2 P's.
differently.
Listen, I don't do
cool.
lettering very often, and I still wasn't sure.
Okay, sweet. And then I'm going to fill the space again like that. So that's your layout. So for this project, what we're going to be using is the Tombow Fudenosuke. So it's a little bit different than the other brush pens that we've been using. So this one is the Tombow dual brush pens, and you will notice that it has a bigger tip than this guy. They're both brush pens, but what I want to show you, because I see a scratch paper, is this also, so this is in your subscription box if you have this with us, so you can go through this. I'll show you just so you can see the difference. Is this creates a little bit thicker line. You can practice too. And it's just a little bit smaller. So what's a little bit different if you are going through with this pen with us is that you'll notice it's a little bit stiffer. So you can practice, maybe you practice drawing miracles. And so you can get a really thin line, but your thick line just won't be as thick. So just know that as you're going through this, it's something to get accustomed to. We do have a beginner lettering series that you can go through, and maybe you practice the foundation strokes. I don't have that paper near. So you can practice those foundation strokes to get accustomed to it. But that's what we're going to be going through with this one. The reason why I also like this is if you're doing maybe a little bit smaller of a piece, so on our lettering projects we're doing a 9x12 piece, whereas this is a smaller piece. So you can do this project with this brush pen. Totally okay.
Okay.
And maybe I'll do another example later on that you can see that I did it with a brush pen. Or for the Tombow, we're going to be using this guy. And so what's nice is that because it's black, you can just go directly over it, and then at the end we'll lightly erase ours. So go through it. When you're doing your block font, it still works where you can do thick. I like to do my horizontal lines thinner. That's just personal preference. So you can still do thin on the up, thick on the down. This train. So the other thing to be mindful of is that if you do want a thick line, like I said, you do have to press harder. If you don't press harder, you would just get an all thin line, which actually looks really cool too. So if you notice you do that because you're just kind of going on autopilot, it's totally okay. And if you want, you can just go back in.
That's what I'm doing right now. I
Yeah.
get all thin, and then I'm like,
Add
actually,
your
I'm
there.
going to add some thick.
Yeah, so that's another way that you can do it too. So I think I'm going to wait and hold off and then do my lines at the end to just fill the space. So I'm going to go through and draw miracles. So you will notice I am taking it stroke by stroke rather than going really fast. So thick on the down, thin on the up, let go. So then I'm going to draw a C for the A, and then this guy. So a C. Because what happens is that my hand starts to cramp up, and you also have to move across the paper. So it helps to just release the pressure. L, E. This one, so if you do have to lift up in kind of an awkward spot, what you can do is you just go back over and overlap, and then continue the stroke. So miracles, this train of miracles isn't. Also, if this is your first video with us, another thing you can practice with is, I talk about the grip, and I do talk about it in the beginner lettering series, but for this one, you can grip if you're feeling you don't have control. I would suggest trying to grip a little bit closer, or you can figure out, some people also can grip higher, but I would experiment with that, because that's something is I just want you to feel supported and grounded, and that will help if you're also shaking a little bit. P, P, N, G. Okay, so as you're doing this, if you want to, so on this one, what I did was I added some shadow to miracles to have it pop a little bit. So what you can do is you can decide, do you want my shadow to be on the left, or do you want the shadow to be on your right? Whatever you decide, just make it consistent. So what's happening is choose a light source, and where your light source is, the opposite is going to have the shadow. So I tend to have my light source from the top right, or the right side in general, and then all my shadows are going to be on the left. So you can decide, I'm going to, because it's the same color, I'm just going to leave a little bit of space in between and just draw a light stroke. So everywhere on the left. And so it creates just a little pop for the letters. Then now that I can see this, so what we're going to do is we're going to erase this line at the end. So I'm going to fill this space up with my lines, and I'm going to draw. Some people are better drawing horizontal lines this way, or if you're better drawing straight or from the top to the bottom, you can flip your postcard, or the other way around.
Is this going to smear?
I would lightly do it.
Okay.
So I'm better from going top to down. So I'm actually going to draw my straight line like that. I'm going to decide, I'm just going to trail this off a little bit. And then I'm going to fill in this space here. Like that. And then, so while you can either let it dry just for a little bit. These things, it's not like watercolor that you need it to completely dry. But as you're doing this, when you are erasing, I usually like to use the tip of the eraser. And so I'm just really lightly going over it. So just be mindful of it. If you see a little bit of pencil lines, it's totally okay. It adds some personality to it. But don't scrape really hard like you might want to do naturally. So the eraser, the pencil will naturally come off a little bit if I'm just kind of guiding it across. Or what I also like to do is, instead of going across the whole miracles, I just see an eraser line like there, so I'm just going to erase right there rather than the whole paper. I don't know how well that eraser works.
It's doing pretty good, actually.
Okay. So this was just a small eraser that ended up breaking. So that's why it's time. Oh, sorry,
No, it's okay.
into your area. Okay, so then when you're looking at your final piece, I love empty spaces and negative spaces. So don't feel like you have to fill it all up. I think this is beautiful. If you want to add, maybe you add more lines here or some dots here. You can do that. Oh, can we all see yours?
Yeah.
Or if I don't, can they see both of them?
Yep.
Yay! Oh, I love how you added some thicker lines there.
Yeah, I did it randomly. I'm happy with it.
It looks
I like
great.
How it turned out.
I love it. So we did this in black and white. If you also want, so this pen is the hard tip version. There is a soft tip, but this is the hard tip one. And they do come in other colors. We have some on our site if you'd like, or yeah, these ones, just the black ones in your box, but there are other colors if you wanted to add some pops of colors, but we also like the simplicity of just black. So, what was I gonna say? Oh, the ending part. With this, when you're done, mail it off. So stamp, or it will be stamped, so you'll have a stamp on the back. What I also like you to do is address the back. We will email you the address so you will have that. If you're not a part of the subscription box, just email hello@letsmakeart.com and we'll provide that for you. It's another good way to practice your lettering, so feel free to go for it. This pen will be good for you. Another way to practice because it's a smaller lettering. And thank you for joining us for this special part of this company. Spreading joy, I feel like, is, like you said, what this is all about and what art's about. So
Exactly.
I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks.